Spring, yo. Gots to get my bonnet on. What?
Spring!
Okay, well, it's spring everywhere else. It wasn't below 0 today, so it's spring. Razzle dazzle. Of course I would make a video response to you, you silly rabbit. You might be a rabbit. It's possible. I mean, you seem vaguely man-shaped. Actually, you seem pretty man-shaped. But, I mean, this is YouTube. We don't know. You could be 15 rabbits in a man's suit. This could turn into a Donnie Darko joke, but we're not going to take it there because I think it's overrated. Risky business. Also overrated. Moving on. Not trying to piss anybody off, and achieving that exactly. That first question is rude and mean, and how dare you try to make everyone pick 3 favorites? Only 3? What? 3 favorite records? Are you out of your fucking mind? You could have categorized it in any other millions of ways that would have been far easier, but no! No, you gotta play it like that. So, my 3 that I want to talk about. 1, I'm furious about because I can't fucking find it. The door was left open, I didn't get it V-chipped, it wasn't wearing its collar, and it ran into the street, and I know it's my fault, but still. I miss it. And it's kind of hard to come by, apparently. I don't know why it's hard to come by, but whatever. That would be Drinking with Jesus by the Red Elvises. Not a gospel record! Chill, if anyone was worried. Why you'd worry? I don't know, because music is music. Who cares? But yeah, it's the internet. Shit. Whatever. I'm sure, I'm mostly almost positive that in the 2 years that I've been here now, I had to have talked about the Red Elvises at some point. If I haven't, it's coming. But I fucking love that band. They're one of my absolute favorites. I just worship. If there were ever a band in danger of being dry humped by me upon sight, it's the Red Elvises. And all of them, every one of them. Just, I can't really do them all at once, but, because it's not quite how dry humping works. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. Moving on! That album, I have no idea which track is the first and which track is the second, because they play on repeat so often, I don't know where the cycle begins. I love every single song on there. But my favorite is Don't Crucify Me, which there's a chunk of my brain for which that is the soundtrack for. Not because I necessarily empathize with the person in the song, but, I mean, it's funky, it's this beautiful orchestral start that mixes really well with the rock and roll, and the sort of retro style of rock and roll that the Red Elvises do, which is just, so fucking hot. And it's just morally ambiguous, and it's funny, and it's just, I love it. I love it completely. 2 pieces, and there's actually a link of that exact song, which I'm sure I've showed you guys before, but you're fucking clicking it again. Deal with it. But yeah, so there's that one. Number 2, definitely a Tom Waits album. Surprise ending? No. I'm gonna have to go with Closing Time. Tom Waits is, I've said it a million times, I've never had an emotion that I couldn't connect to a Tom Waits song and then feel it after hearing that. Tom Waits is my emotional muse, it would seem. And that, all of it. I mean, everything from, Orphans to Blue Valentine, everywhere in between. Doesn't matter how funky and industrial or how pretty and acoustic, Poncho's Lament, who cares? Shivers. But, shiver me timbers, in fact. Stop it, Patty! Okay. Closing Time is another one of those that, if it didn't play in sort of a linear fashion, I would have no idea where it starts and where it begins. I listen to it on repeat, and at least once a week, if not more than that. And by once a week, I mean like 1 5-hour chunk of my life a week. It's pretty bad. And the last one would have to be Ozman Cometh, the Ozzy Osbourne Greatest Hits album that I have. I have 9 other actual Ozzy CDs on which these songs that feature on the Greatest Hits appear, but they're all in one place. It's just nice and compact. It's great. And that CD was high school for me. That is the soundtrack for high school. That, Pink Floyd, during my honors English lit, or honors American lit class rather, and Led Zeppelin 4. Those are high school for me. High school was in the 2000s. Yeah, call me a relic, call me what you will. But Mr. Crowley is my absolute favorite Ozzy song, period. And I can't, if you start playing it and you expect me to not stop everything I'm doing and blast it, you are a silly person. But it also served as like the song that for some reason I was able to concentrate to. I would put that on repeat, and any creative effort I had to do, anything that I really needed to focus on and dedicate myself to, be it a reading project, a writing project, an art project, whatever, that song went on, I was in the zone, and I experimented. I tried doing things without that particular song. Fucking terrible! Awful. I mean, not to say this stuff was good in the first place, but bad news bears! So bad. But yeah, so those are the three that at this exact moment in time are my favorites. There are 5 billion others, but I'll be good and I'll behave. For now. Yeah. Favorite TV show? Everyone's expecting me to say Stargate SG-1 and MST3K. Of course, because I like titles with letters. Apparently. Which is a dumb sentence, because words have letters. Typically. Letters and numbers. There you go. But I will also venture away from the usual suspects here, and I will talk about a fanaticism that I don't think I talk about enough. Actually, that's a lie. My just talking is too much. But I worship animation. Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, 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 far away, see, there were extra fars, so George Lucas can't sue me. I wanted to get into animation. I'm not creative enough to come up with an original concept that flows to become a cartoon. I'm a shitty artist, and so what was left was voice acting, and here we are. We're not there yet. Maybe. Someday. Doubt it. Yeah, anyway, I never grew out of a love for cartoons. I still love them. I will watch cartoons that are children's shows. I will watch, actually specifically for a while it was public, or children's television I wanted to get into, but really cartoons. But yeah, I will watch little children's shows. I will watch, Adult Swim shit that is out there now, because it is. I miss when it was good. No offense, if you dig what's on there now, that's fine, groovy, whatever. I don't. But the shows that right now I want to talk about, because huge pieces of my personality are derivative from being introduced to them, are these motherfuckers. Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Oh, hells yeah. And home movies. Fans of Metalocalypse, Brendan Small's early work. Genius. Absolute genius. And if you dig Sterling Archer, well, before he was Sterling Archer and before he had a van, H. John Benjamin was Coach John McGurk, the big fat crappy Irish guy. I cannot wax poetic enough about these shows. They're both hilarious, they're simple, unique, funky. I mean, if I had to give somebody a taste of the 90s, of what the 90s was to me as far as I perceive it, it would be this. It's got the funky electronic music that was going on, the color saturations, the using retro elements of Hanna-Barbera characters and modernizing them and then making them these awkward, hilarious, nonsensical beasts. And then having the two-dimensional animation as well as the actual live recordings of the guests, because if you've never seen this, just watch it. You'll love it. Or hate it. You will react, which is a joke from here. It's funny. They're just hilarious. They're off the wall. They're just, I can't describe them accurately. I cannot come up with a good enough reason for you to watch them other than they're funny as hell, they're unique, and there's not enough of them around. The sort of style of humor that exists in Archer today is what you'll find in home movies. Sort of. But, yeah. And if you've ever read Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis and thought to yourself, this needs to be a rock opera. Season 1, Disc 2, motherfuckers. Watch. Oh, love them. So yeah, now let's see. Favorite country that I have visited. I have never been outside of the Midwest, let alone the country. So, yeah. I almost went to Canada once, though. Totally on accident. My grandpa had missed an exit. We were headed to a Kenny Rogers concert in the Sault Ste. Marie. and missed an exit, and all of a sudden there was the Canadian border. And I was like, oh, did not realize we were that close to Canada. Huh. We didn't go. We made it to the concert. That's right. Kenny Rogers concert. With my grandparents. I didn't choose the thug life. It clearly chose me. Get out of here, you itchy bastard. So yeah. And as far as where I'd go, if I have my camera, a bunch of memory cards, loaded batteries, and deodorant, anywhere, really. No, almost anywhere. I'm getting picky now that I get older. So yeah. What was next? Collections, I believe, was next. I don't have a list, so forgive me if I get something wrong. You, my beautiful little rabbit man Raz, you mentioned that I collect books. You were half right. I collect antique books. Get it right! It's very important. I just spent $30 on a 1905 printing of Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I did a happy dance. I could have bought the same fucking book in paperback for $1. I am not a smart person. Fiscal responsibility be damned. But yeah, I collect books and I collect DVDs. The other collection that, though I don't talk about it necessarily, I don't think, but may be blatantly obvious, is masks. I collect masks. I love masks. Not Halloween masks. I don't like, well, I like and appreciate the artwork that goes into a good Halloween mask, but I don't like them because they're inherently useless. They're faulty. You put on a mask, even if you're fucking Hugo Weaving, you are limited to whatever is happening on this mask. So, you know, it limits the imagination, and no one with a cool mask should ever win a fucking contest. You didn't put any work into it, did you? You just put your head into something. It's a hat on your face. That's all you did. Take the time to use your imagination. The way Janet! The Wasteland video I did a long ass time ago was nothing but costume contact lenses and eyeshadow. It's not that impressive. It's not that hard. Do it. Anyway, not Halloween masks necessarily. I'll have them just to have them, but but like I have 2 Slee Stack masks. I have my werewolf mask. I have the bunny mask that was featured on that marshmallow thing Dawn and I did a long time ago. I've got my Harlequin masks, I've got my Venetian masks, I've got a bunch of just random fucking masks, and I love them. I don't know, I'm sure there's some deep psychological analysis one could make from this, but I don't care, because I love them. And right now, in fact, the money I spent on that fucking antique book, I could have spent it on something that I've been looking at since Christmas. It's a realistic replica of Godzilla's mask. Or like a Godzilla head. But not like good Gojira, like early. No, I mean like the Megalon versus Godzilla kind of stuff. Jet Jaguar and all that. The sillier Godzilla. And I want it so bad. I want it so, so bad. And it is completely affordable. And it is completely justifiable to spend $35 on something you're going to keep and use. Apparently the visibility is a little limited in it. So I can't like, you know, drive in it. Which actually is a bummer. Because that was one of the first things I was going to do. But there's still uses, and I would keep it forever, and I would love it, and my life would be complete. I could die happy the next day. I may be looking a little bit silly. No, this is legitimately an issue for me. I legitimately want to buy this thing, and I can't justify just buying it. But yeah, masks. Moral of the story, masks! Pretty ones, ugly ones, silly ones, goofy ones. Masks for everyone. Don't know what that was. What the fuck was next? Dishes versus vacuum versus laundry, maybe? Well, if it wasn't, it is now. Dishes. I just got done doing the dishes. I hate all of them. But I hate the dishes the least. Yeah. Can't really wax poetic there. I can't really elaborate. I don't have any fun anecdotes for washing the dishes. What was next? I think it was the decade, maybe? Decade I'd want to live in. Probably the 70s. I, grew up fully immersed in 70s culture, and that, though the real, renaissance happened during the 60s, the rebirth of just a different way of thinking, a different way of living. everything started getting a little bit more experimental. People started opening up about, no, fuck you. This is how we're going to do this. That's bullshit, and here's why. But the 70s was sort of when that started to smooth out a little bit and just become groovy. That was, the dawn of David Bowie and Alice Cooper and Meatloaf, and 70s Elton John versus 90s Lion King Elton John is a very different fucking Elton John. Like, the music that makes up most of who and what I am happened then. And the TV that I grew up, watching on VHS and on DVD. Boom! WKRP in Cincinnati, right there at you. Shut up. Don't judge. I love that show. It was just different. It was different for movies. It was different for... It was just different. And it was funky, and it was just new. And, there's even some disco songs that I like. It's fine. But, yeah, it would be interesting to be able to spend some time during the era that I'm so far removed from, but have studied accidentally and been so immersed in. But either that or the 90s. I would like to see the 90s as an adult, rather than as a tiny little child who didn't really care and didn't notice and didn't have the awareness to know what was going on. I would like to know if I would have still been, so amazed by this if I watched it as an adult versus, as a kid. Who knows? What was next? Sports, I think. I wish so badly that I could say, defeat the gender stereotype that girls don't like sports. My hat, what are you doing? And say, stats of every sports ever, blah, 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 and they're all right. And have you all go, oh, wow, holy shit. I don't care. Sadly, I don't care. But I like hockey. I like to watch hockey. It's the only sport that I can watch and at no point question, why the fuck am I watching this? I just enjoy it, period. And I'm actually the bastard Wisconsinite in my family. Everyone else was born and raised in Michigan. So our egos are attached to the Detroit Red Wings. Love them or hate them, I don't care. They're my team. Plus, they're about the only thing Detroit has going for them right now, and Michigan as a state as far as the economy. Because we know the Lions sure ain't bringing in any money. But yeah, the other sport would be pro wrestling. When I grew up, pro wrestling was a huge part of who and what I was. I did a book report in 7th grade on The Rock's autobiography. I shit thee not. And, if you don't want to call it a sport, that's your business, but frankly, if you consider fencing a sport, and you consider, ballet and dance a sport, which I do, then pro wrestling counts. It's very physically demanding. There is a goal. There you go. I don't know if that's actually the definition of what a sport is, but I don't care. And for that, my favorites were, I know I'm playing with my hair, settle down. It tickles. My favorites were Roddy Piper and The Undertaker. And I don't care which era of The Undertaker we're talking about, be it Paul Bearer and like Undertaker versus Kane, or American Badass Undertaker, don't care. I love him. And Roddy Piper, how do you not love him? Seriously, it's ridiculous. They Live is one of my absolute favorite movies, so. As is Hell Comes to Frogtown. What are you gonna do? What's left? I think what's left is, holy shit, how long have we been sitting here? It's been a long time. I will try to keep this short, but I don't. This is the one that's gonna take a while. Hey! It worked. Can you please go lay down? I'm gonna try to keep this short and then completely not talk about what I was gonna talk about. My dogs are very itchy right now. It's spring! They don't have the bonnets. That's why they're itchy. They need bonnets. But they won't fucking wear them. Problems. The genre of film that I wish to talk about that is a favorite is not what everyone's going to think. I'm guessing most people are going to go, oh, she's going for horror, or oh, sci-fi, here we go. Actually, classic comedy. And I mean like birth of film era, to say like 1969. Mostly black and white. In fact, actually, we'll go to 1960. Because, the 60s was pretty revolutionary for comedy, too. But I'm talking the Groucho Marx era. I'm talking Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton's, Keystone Cops, Three Stooges, everybody. Laurel and Hardy, not as much because I never really laughed at Laurel and Hardy. But Abbott and Costello, radio show, TV show, movies, doesn't matter. That era of comedy is so important to what we have today as far as entertainment, but it's also so fascinating and it's so hilarious, and it gets such a bad rap. So many people of our generation and younger just discredit it and go poo-poo on that. No, it's dated and it's lame and it's stupid and it's all, pies to the face. It's ridiculous. They all talk like that. All of them. Every person. And that is the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever fucking heard in my life, and there are very few things that will instantly make me want to punch somebody in the face quite like that. The foundation of comedy, of what we have today, is from that, and they were all, vaudevillians. It was stage shows that somehow had to be converted into a completely different medium and translated without any words at first, and still be funny, but a joke has to make sense. Otherwise it's not funny. You're not gonna laugh. If I say a banana and a soda walk into a bar and then there was a table, that's not a joke. It has to actually, be a thing. It has to be an observation, an analysis, something. I mean, who's on first? Would you stop? Is actually just one giant grammar joke. Really. That's all it is. But it's a masterpiece. And I worship it. I absolutely, who I am is a person with hair that just flew up her nose and it was very uncomfortable. But who I am is definitely partially responsible. These people are partially responsible for who I am and what I am and my exposure to them. But yeah, I love it. And everyone should love it, but everyone's different. I understand that. Which means people are wrong and then I'm right, and I get that. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, in my heart I do, but whatever. But, yeah, and so this is a little weird because of the fact that that era of comedy is my favorite, or that era of film and comedy and that genre of film. There's where I was going with that. That's my favorite, but, and the one that I have the most respect for, hands down, bar none. There we go. I'm gonna hold up a film that was made in the 90s. And it's Delicatessen. This is, that hair made it to my lip. Gross. I've got enough of those on my own, I don't need more. This is a French film that takes place during a dystopia. We have no idea when the world ended. If this is, in the future, in the past, who knows. But it's about cannibalism. It's a dark comedy. It's hilarious. It's beautiful. I fucking love how it was shot. The music is fantastic, but the hero and protagonist is a vaudevillian entertainer. Or at least he was. Before the world ended, apparently. And maybe it wasn't even intentional. Maybe I'm just reading too into it, but I feel like this film did a very good job of paying homage to that era, to those, pioneers of comedy at the time. And that makes me love it all the more. I would have loved it anyway, but yeah, extra. So Delicatessen. Beautiful, funny, ridiculous, off the wall at times. Love it. But I suppose I can't really talk about the Three Stooges and not, reference them. So, my favorite of the Three Stooges, that's a fucking difficult question, actually, but it would be, my favorite Shemp is Sing a Song for 6 Pairs of Pants. No idea why. It just is. And Shemp is my favorite. Motherfuckers, legalize Shemp. Boom. But my favorite Curly would be the one, Three Little Pirates, which is where this is from. You don't recognize that? You don't recognize the title? Janet! Anyway, so that's the one that goes, maha, aha! And then the rest of the sketch continues, and I'm not going to do it because I love you guys too much. I wouldn't put you through that. No. But anyway, yes, so the other one would be Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. I had to get a little horror in there, didn't I? But it was my favorite movie when I was a kid, absolutely, and it still is one of my absolute favorites, and I would watch that, apart from Sleeping Beauty. Shut up. Time out. Aurora is easily the most useless of all the princesses, except for Sleeping Beauty, or Snow White. But for some fucking reason, she's my favorite. I think I blame my love for that on Tchaikovsky, the art, and Merryweather, because she's fucking hilarious. And Maleficent, because she's badass. But anyway, moving on. It's no secret that, you know, Lou Costello was a pretty heavy influence on me, personally. More so than, you know, the other entertainers that I referenced. And I don't know, the film is just genius. It's just hilarious. It's nonsense. It does a very good job of being respectful to the horror that existed, but also still being able to poke it with a stick and say, ah! I don't know. It's just magnificent to me. And my favorite part is actually the very end with the cameo from Vincent Price, which is ironic because he's the Invisible Man, so it's not really a cameo if you can't see him. Is it? We've been here a while. I should probably shut the fuck up, shouldn't I? Yeah, I should have shut up a long time ago. But it's not my fault. It was requested. And though I don't fill requests, I loves me some Raz, so. If y'all haven't watched his video, which I find highly unlikely, but just in case, go fucking watch it. And if you did watch it, go watch it again. Do it. I told you to. Are you gonna deny the woman in the hat? Found where the hair went. I'm gonna go. Love you guys. Extra love to Raz. The Rabbit Man. You are now the Rabbit Man. I hate to break it to you. I just have this image of you with bunny ears and it makes me happy and I don't know why and I feel uncomfortable about it, but I'm gonna go. Love you and goodbye.